the whites cut out. They flee to the suburbs. And the community that you thought you were integrating soon becomes another all-black slum, another all-black ghetto.
Might have been whipped up by militant, anti-white black Muslims. It might have been poverty.
We should control the politics and the politicians in the community where we live. We should control the businesses and create employment opportunities for ourselves. And the social philosophy of black nationalism only means that we should do something to uplift the standard and the level of our own society and put it on par with others.
We want black power.
How can you tell black people to be nonviolent and at the same time condone the sending of white killers into the black communities? It's something wrong. We are going to control our communities by any means necessary.
That's all we've been doing, begging. It's time you stand up and take over. The government is responsible for the injustice.
We built the country up, we'll burn it down.
Some people say we got a lot of manners. Some say
We don't advocate violence.
Here reporting live from Channel 8 Black Kings and Queens television production. Today we will be having a little discussion on the miseducation of the Negro from Carter G. Woodson. I will have two black scholars with me, Mrs. Isis Ingram and Fatima Ross. So ladies, first I'm going to start off with chapter 5, failure to learn to make a living. What does that mean?
As the role and as a Negro businessman or woman, the standpoint that Carter G. Woodson would make is that the Negro businessman is not taught that his business can be successful. Like his oppressors are the reasons that he learns the way he do, and they tell him that his businesses aren't going to be successful. And like he said in page 42, his professor was like, you read such headlines as the greatest Negro business fails, Negro banks robbed by its officers in the twilight of Negro businesses. The miseducated Negroes then stand by saying, I told you so. So we don't support our own black businesses. Of course we're going to fail because we keep putting into their businesses. We need to support our own businesses so we can be successful and stop giving our money to people that keep oppressing us and not allowing us to learn the right way. Like, all businesses can be successful, but don't try to put us down and keep us inferior and have the oppressors just keep teaching us that in the business schools. And that's what chapter 5 was pretty much saying.
So, Isis, when you say that we don't support our own black businesses, what do you mean? Like, what are the reasons why that we don't support it? Is it that we don't trust our people, or what is it?
It's more of what you're taught and the theories that you learn that your fellow black person's business is not going to be successful. You're taught that in a way, and I feel like the community doesn't have faith in his own businessman, and the businessman does not have faith in his community. And that goes back to in chapter 5 as well, is how the Negro businessman is described as a social lion. He sometimes plunges into leadership in local matters. He becomes popular in restricted circles, and men of the less magnetism grow jealous of his inroads. And it can possibly be a jealousy thing. Like, we tend to hate on our own selves when we should be hating Wall Street. We should be hating these people that don't allow us to do anything. Because if we care about our community so much, we can allow them to get jobs. We can allow them to do better in the community. That's income for our own place, like for our own community. And that's how I feel about that. If the Negro businessman keep being higher than or think he's better than us, we're not going to get anywhere because we're not going to have faith in him, and we're just not going to support him because of the leadership roles that he thinks he has.
Very well put. Thank you. Now I'm going to direct my next question to Ms. Fatima. In the book, I read that it stated, the chapter technically, said that we drifted away from the truth. Well, what is the truth?
Okay. Well, Woodson argues in chapter 3 that whether it's science, history, literature, any subject or whatever it may be, that whites display that their culture to American society will always be superior than blacks. And then on page 7, chapter 3, if you in the green book, it says, in geography, the races were described to conformity with the program of the usual propaganda to engender in whites a race of hate of the Negro, and in the Negro's contempt for themselves. So basically, if you distort a people's history, you will distort a people's future.
And you're pretty much saying that our history isn't worth knowing. You're telling us that it's really not that valuable to you, and it's going to keep us inferior for not knowing.
Okay, also what I thought was very interesting in chapter 3, on page 18, it says, a poet illustrated the physical feature of the white race. Now, growing up, everybody see about the Indians and the different shades of the, I want to say, Caucasian people or black people that's lighter, and then, you have the dark people. But he said, a bedecked chief of a tribe, those of the red, a proud warrior, the brown, a prince, the yellow, and a savage with a ring in his nose, the black. The Negro, of course, stood at the foot of the social ladder. And then he goes into saying the parks inhabited by the Caucasian were treated in detail. Less attention was given to the yellow, still less to the red, very little to the brown, and practically none to those of the black race. Those who are far removed from the physical characteristics of the Caucasian or do not have materially assist them in the domination of the exploitation of others were not mentioned except to be belittled or decried. Now, that basically goes back to like segregation when, even though if you're light skinned, you're still considered black, but
Things got a little real in the studio, as you can see, but we'll be right back. Check out this quick commercial break.
Always wanted to be sexy. 1, 2, 3. Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feel all so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go. Perhaps I should cut off my prince's luck. No. Yes.
And we're back here with Miss Fatima and Isis. As we were talking about before, we were talking about the miseducation of the Negro. We're talking about the light skin and the dark skin. And while we were on break, they asked me the question was,
What was your miseducation, Miss Stephanie? What was the miseducation that you experienced?
like,
when did you
do you
realize?
know your history? What do you know about yourself or your African ancestry? Like, tell me, enlighten me, please.
I pretty much know that I came from Africa. I knew that we were slaves. I knew that we were beaten, but never was I told that we were really kings and queens. I knew that we were, but it was never proven to me. My mom told me, my teachers told me that basically we came from Africa and we were slaves and we're free now, and now we're in this struggle.
The teachers here are white or foreign, and we go to the HBCU and don't learn about our history.
And the crazy thing is about the HBCU, how we kind of started with white presidents of the universities and colleges, and how black students were allowed to go in their house on the hill, per se, as a guest. We had to go in as a servant. We can't communicate with our president because at that moment we're inferior to him. We can't be his guest because of our color of our skin at our own college. So we had to be a servant to even go in. And you didn't come through the front. You went through the back. And that's the really miseducation too. Because if it's our school, why? You should treat me like I'm a guest. You let me into this institution. I should be getting the same treatment as you do, or your guests, or the philanthropists that did donate to our schools. But at the same time, why would I want to be a servant coming into my own president's house?
And we've been miseducated for years. Like,
being brought over here. We was miseducated before the Civil War, and we was miseducated after the Civil War. But the funny thing about the Civil War was they did 3 amendments that was supposed to be towards black people, and that was the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. If you don't know what they are, the 13th abolished slavery. The 14th basically gave that every person is equal under protection under the law, including us blacks. And the 15th was the right to vote. But when it came to, the Black Power movement.
All right, ladies. Thank you. It has been an enjoyment and a pleasure tonight. We have been really informed, and I encourage you all to continue to inform yourself. You can also hit us up on our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter page at Black Kings and Queens. We would like to hear your comments. Thank you. Have a great night.
Make sure you read.
Carter G. Woodson said, "Real education is to inspire people to live more abundantly and to learn to begin to love life as you find it and to make it better." In The Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson talks about appreciation of the education, and he also talks about when students graduate high school, they think that going to college gives them a better opportunity to achieve the goals that they set for themselves and they have lined up for them later in life. More specifically, when students come to Virginia State, they want to come into what is perceived as a family atmosphere, loving, caring faculty, student body that wants to have fun but learn at the same time. But ultimately, the choice is yours.
Woodson started off Chapter 6 by stating, "One of the most striking evidences of failure of higher education among Negroes is their estrangement from the masses, the very people upon whom they must eventually count for carrying out a program of progress." Chapter 6, which is titled "The Educated Negro Leaving the Masses," is really relevant to society today. Relating the miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson to modern-day society is that from 1933 to 2014, African Americans are still being miseducated. The disenfranchisement of higher education for African Americans is reoccurring as it once was before in our history. In present time, students from Virginia State University have motivated one another based on their faith, hope, and religion. In The Miseducation of the Negro, Chapter 6 was highly based upon religion and how our religion helped us build connections with one another. If the educated students were to leave behind the masses, we would completely be lost. Our current fight for our education could be tried to Woodson's concept of informing our uneducated or miseducated brothers and sisters as they need help and guidance. Lately, our student body has been promoting unity and uplifting the environment by promoting awareness. More and more each day, HBCUs tend to struggle financially, and we are constantly fighting for what was built for us as a people. Our miseducation will no longer continue if our conscious individuals as a student body help wake up those who are sleeping. We at Virginia State University are trying to preserve our history and strive for our education, while at the same time maintain a safe and secure environment. Historically black colleges and universities that have closed their doors are the reason why we fight for our education. St. Paul's College closed June 30, 2013, which was a 125-year-old institution. The institution unsuccessfully battled a crushing debt and a rejected accreditation. Bishop College, founded for Black Baptists, experienced a series of controversial and financial problems which resulted in its closing its doors in 1988. Daniel Payne College closed 1977 after a massive tornado left over $1 million worth of damages to the campus. Friendship College was an institution that held its final semester in 1981 after an investigation exposed a mismanagement of funds. Guadalupe College, primarily financed by Black Baptists, closed its doors due to a disastrous fire in 1936. Cottrell College, originally a high school, had financial problems which caused the school to shut down twice before it finally closed in 1975. Leland University closed in 1960. Mary Holman's College had a host of problems that led to the institution's board of trustees to declare bankruptcy and closed in 2004. Mississippi Industrial College closed its doors in 1982. Western University was the first black university in Kansas, which went down after a drop of Prentice Institute, which partnered with a private two-year college in 1955, began to decline, which led to its closure in 1989.
What time is it? Time for change. 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 Time for change. Time for change. Time for change.
Y'all want to say something?
Could I say time for change?
You already said it.
Time for change.
By the river, in the little tent, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. A long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the